Hello and welcome to this episode of Not Just Ghost Stories. I'm your host Josh, joined by Jackie and Laura. We are a small team of experienced paranormal investigators, and here we discuss different locations that we've investigated, along with a little history and the paranormal evidence that we found. Today we will be resuming our talk on Monroe House, and this is where things get a little bit weird. Now, since we brought it up, Agents of Chaos. Jackie, do you want to give your opinion on what you think they are?
Yeah, they're very interesting. They are a group of humans and non-humans. And I call them agents of chaos because they create chaotic energy. They feed on chaotic energy. And they love it to get into your head, take what scares you so you go running out of the house. That's their game they play. That's the energy they like to have. But when we started having a discussion with them, they did stay and talk with us. So they didn't hold it against us, I should
But
say.
they definitely try to get in your mind.
Yeah.
I remember commenting at one point that it was like somebody kept like knocking, like trying to, in my head, talk to me. And that was one where I, for some reason, knew not to open the door. Like, just, although I didn't want to know what they had to say, but that would have been beyond my stupidity level.
Well, and at one point I had asked it, and I knew it was a stupid question, but I asked it anyway. I asked them why chaotic energy, why not love? And before Laura could answer me, I heard him say, "You figure it out," or something like, hello, stupid question.
When you said that too, the Donner didn't come out with what I could ever come up with as a word, but it wasn't making any noise until you asked that question. And then there is something on there. So.
Well,
And I can't recall how many there were, but I still remember there were humans with them. And I didn't get the impression that the humans were like their slaves or their prisoners. I got the impression like maybe apprentice. I didn't, maybe when you die, you can be an apprentice chaos agent. I don't know. But the chaos agents themselves are not human.
I will say that there's a lot of like small shadows there, like not like crawlers. They're just little. And they just, is that the chaos or the
chaos,
non-human side of it maybe? I mean, they're just, it's like they bounce and they're really low to the ground.
well, what I'm going to say about what we dubbed the Agents of Chaos, I don't remember them until we were in the blue room, which is in the back on the other side of the living room. And we decided to sit down, have a bunch of equipment, including radiation detector, going off there. I mean, we had a bunch of it just set up in front of us. I think even the kids' ball, we had anything and everything that we can try to catch
we brought
them.
everything, yeah.
We brought everything out. Even try to give them energy with an EMF pump to see if they can talk to us more. And the three of us literally sat there, and they would stay out in that little laundry area room and slowly come in and then back out.
They're peeking around the corner or something.
Yeah, they were peeking around corners. They were doing different things. That was the first time I really had some type of interaction with them.
I don't think those were the agents of chaos. Because we split up. You and Laura went into that one room right next to me, and I stayed in that other room. And what I was surrounded by, the only thing I can call them is aliens. And I think those were what was out in that laundry room peeking in.
Well, I mean, I even make reference on the recorder I have. They were walking in front of me. One point, I felt like it was about 3'7", staring at me in the corner of that room. Then all of a sudden, just disappeared, and something else came walking in, smaller than it, just a little bit, and then would just back out as it would turn around and run. And it was like, what the heck is going on? I can remember, I mean, I even said it on and realized I can remember saying this, what the heck is going on here? And I would think I was getting angry at it as far as like, why are you just not coming to us and talking?
I think we were being sized up.
No, we were, well, because they came out to me and I was standing by the podium, and they're small, and I tend to see them more as white as opposed to dark. And I got the impression I'm the zoo animal, and they're the ones on the outside of the cage looking in. I also got the impression they were here first. They were here before the house was here. They're like scientists, and we are their test subjects.
Are you referring to the aliens or
the aliens?
Okay.
And that's when I just got the impression they're aliens. The agents of chaos had gone somewhere else at that point. And then we're surrounded. These aliens kept coming up and they kept crowding me. I'm like, can you get away from me? And there, at one point, there must have been about 7 of them. And I just got the impression that I was the test subject. And you don't talk to, we don't, I mean, animal lovers, yes, but when you go to the zoo, you don't try to communicate with the gorilla or something. You try to see if you can make them wave or something like, we treat, and I was getting treated like how we treat when we're little, especially when we go to the zoo, how we treat animals, that they're just animals and they're for our entertainment.
I mean, it's the place as a whole. I mean, we haven't even made it to the upper floor yet. The place as a whole is kind of just crazy downstairs. The Agents of Chaos, I think one of the things that made them interesting to us and them interested in us is that we weren't scared. We weren't allowing them in. We weren't going to run out of the house because, well, we're ghost hunters and we're stupid. And that's the motto that we live by. That's what we have to do in order to make sure we go through things. Have we been scared? Yeah, plenty of times. However, we were fighting back, and I don't think that they were used to them. The aliens, no, I agree with Jackie. It was like they were doing things to see reaction and to kind of gauge what that reaction is. It was weird. I mean, at one point, Laura referenced, I'm seeing stars. And it was little small flashes of light that we never ever caught on camera. However, we all saw them. At one point, they looked green to me.
Yeah, because I came in that room. I got tired of the aliens crowding me. So I came in the doorway, and where you were sitting, there's like stars.
Yeah. I mean, they looked white, they looked green, they looked in a couple different colors. And it's like, why are we seeing that? And we're trying, laser pointer, or somebody have one on them, accidentally hitting it or something. No, there was nothing around for some reason. We're seeing these little flashes of what looks like stars to us. We don't know exactly why. We're still in our heads trying to figure all this out too.
Well, I notated that I think there's some doorways in that house. Doorways meaning they go to specific places that could be like on a different dimension even. Which in a way would make sense, I would think, if you were looking through the access point. Maybe the stars is what you would see. I don't know. I really can't come up with a good logical reason of why we saw these stars. I don't get it. I've never seen them before.
Well, like I say,
I don't think I've seen them since.
Yeah, I got the impression we were the experiment. And I'll tell you, man, it does not feel good when you've got people that are coming in there and using you like you're a test subject. It kind of a little demeaning.
Yeah. Well, I think even on our recorder, Jackie, I heard you at one point say, look, you can kind of look at me. I want you to talk to me, but you're not allowed to probe me, is exactly what you said to him.
Well, I've heard about those alien probes.
So, but just those interactions alone just make Monroe House stick out in my head. Now there's more interaction. So at this point we end up saying, okay, we got to go. We got to take a break. We finally just I don't want to say we rushed to get outside and kind of reset again.
Yeah, you have to do that. You get to the point where it's like you're tired because you don't know. I mean, we were talking to the Agents of Chaos, which I gotta say is one of the best spirits I've ever talked to, especially in the inhuman ones. We were having an intelligent conversation there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that spirits don't have intelligent conversations, but most of our conversations are like the one with the drunk Irishman and stuff. So, but they're very intelligent, and they they were willing to give me information. I was willing to give them information. It was almost like two people meeting on the street talking.
Yeah.
But then back to the aliens, and now all of a sudden I've gone from ghost hunter to zoo animal. So you just get to the point. It's like, I got to do something. I gotta leave here. We gotta regroup and refresh and all that.
Which is what we decided to do. We actually sat outside for a while after this one. And I think we just decided to kind of do a little bit of investigation outside, maybe kind of make it a little lighter for us. Cause at that point, I think we're still trying to wrap our heads around what we had just gone through that was probably a couple hours between all of that area. And we were just like, okay, we gotta reset. So we all decided, you know what, we're going to do this outside. I think we were outside for close to half an hour. Now let's go inside. Where we're going to go? Oh, we're going to go upstairs. None of us have been upstairs. We haven't done anything up there. I believe really upstairs. We did all of the rooms. But the one that sticks out is the very first one.
I think we went upstairs too, hoping that, it can't get any worse up there.
And it can and it can't. So in the very first room, they have it set up kind of a lot like a child's room, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of dolls up in there. That's where the Ouija boards are at too. They have a table that looks like a Ouija board. So it's kind of a weird feeling but there's a stroller with a baby doll in it, and it's just kind of an odd little area to sit in. But that is where we got the most activity, I think, even to really this point of all the investigations we've done, we got the most Donner activity.
Yeah.
Now, what the Donner is a spirit box that's connected to a little small amp that has reverb and everything else, so we can kind of take out the static and hear the words a whole lot better.
Right. I believe if you go to Ghost Stop or Ghost Hunter store, it's called a portal.
Portal geophone is another thing I've heard it called by. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. That we got so much stuff that comes out of there, and it came through so fast that we actually didn't hear a lot of it until we went back and listened to the recordings and started hearing stuff. We ended up running into a guy, was one of them, very angry. Did we ever get his name?
No.
We referred to him as Ed.
Ed.
But,
okay.
But I think that we just went with that because he had been, a person that was in the home at one time.
Yeah. So we had that different stuff, but a very angry man. His voice was prominent when it came through on this. There was some higher pitched voices that you can construe as child and or female. That came through. Not a whole lot of words. Mostly a lot of this stuff from this male.
We got, and every once in a while, didn't we get a woman going, help me?
Yeah, well, there was a help me. There was hello.
The strange thing about it is the Donner didn't make any of these words while any of us were talking.
Yeah.
It was always after a question had been asked or maybe like a bold statement, and they had a comment on it.
Well, and we were going back and reviewing some of this, and Jackie, I came to you today before we did this podcast and said, hey, you got cussed out.
What else is new?
But it was the question that you had specifically asked was, if I go downstairs, there's Bibles and Bible verses, come up and recite them. Would that make you feel better? Now the words that I'm going to say, the first one was bitch. And then it was an FU after that, but it was the full words. And it was kind of crazy how it came through because it was that male's voice. He was not happy. But we didn't really, after it was said that, you could hear me say, did you hear that? What'd that say? But we couldn't really catch it at that point until I got it. And we'll end up posting this on Facebook and stuff in order for people to hear it. We're going to post a lot of this stuff on the Donner on Facebook or, other places so that people can hear and tell us what they're hearing as it goes through. We might even try to play the whole entire recording. However, it is like half an hour long on that one. But what did you guys think about that room itself?
Well, first, I'd like to say, in his defense, when I said about running to get the Bibles, he was kind of pissing me off because I think we were talking to a man who was abusing his wife, and I got the impression that he was using his oldest son to met out punishment to the other kids and to his wife. That's the impression I got, and it was just slowly pissing me off. So when I said about getting the Bibles, I did not say it in, oh, let me save your soul. I said it sarcastically.
Yes, you did. But, and he said sarcastically back what he said.
At one time we did hear, it's not clear. It either says get out or time out.
Yeah. And I can't, do we remember the question that was before that?
Mm-hmm.
No? No.
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think it was. I think that was one of them that just we weren't talking and
It just came through. I mean, and the crazy thing is, it was a lot of answers. Another one at one point, I think we were trying to determine was what was there controlled by other things. I think we were trying to get answers from what we were finding downstairs.
Right, because, well, like I say, with the aliens and stuff, I think we started wondering, is this an alien experiment? Because in the history and the highlights of the history, I don't know if you correlated it, but people moved in and bad things happened to them. UG was a nice man until he lived in that house. One person moved in, a couple moved in, died the same year. So I think we're just wondering, is this some sort of alien experiment that's going on?
So I think, Laura said, are you, being led by something? Is something, controlling you? No answer. And I finally I can't remember the exact question that I said straight out, but what is holding you here? I think was kind of what I was coming down to.
I think you asked who the leader was, I think is the word you use.
And we got a response back, and it was a little weird, and we didn't notice it at first because then I said, what did that say? It was coming through pretty fast. When we went back and listened to it, it was coming up. Was it Gimroy or?
It was 2 words. We still don't know what the first word is. It's said in a different voice than the second word.
Yeah. I mean, if I was
the second word, it very clearly is spoken, but that first one, I don't know.
I mean, that first one can be construed as, for the first time I heard it was like, did that say Seth? Who the heck is Seth?
Yeah.
Then, as you kind of listen to it, it was be like, that's. And then it's like, okay, and then it kind of starts, so now it's like, okay, I got to pull myself away from listening to this because I'm hearing about 12 different words now and just one little tiny thing. So,
so we put it on a really loud speaker.
And even then still kept getting the same thing. So we're not 100% sure on that, but it was getting some pretty cool stuff off of that.
Hopefully it wasn't a demonic, or you just summoned a demon to your neighborhood.
Yeah.
But kind of doing some, as long as what we think we got was what we got as far as that Gimroy, it turns out it's being led by a possible leader of demons.
But keep in mind that most humans that have passed on that were evil in life and therefore evil in death want to appear bigger than they are.
Exactly.
Just because you hear a word like that doesn't really mean a darn thing.
Well, and also what I found too, the lesser demons like to appear bigger than they are.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think that they're going to follow the rules and tell the truth? I mean, it just doesn't make
Are you saying demons lie?
Ooh, that's a sin.
Well, actually, we do have it where a lesser demon lied to us at Hinsdale.
Yes.
So, it was lying to us about being a lost woman, and we were about ready to start helping it until we went, something's not right.
Actually, until Laura couldn't find the door and our attention was on her. And when I turned back, I saw what we were talking to, and went, oh.
Where's the door?
Anyways, back to Monroe House. There's a lot of human and non-human entities there. There's evil there. I didn't personally experience anything that was what I would consider nice. But I also heard women and children, on different things. But in the moment, I didn't pick them up. Like they just weren't in the forefront. So I think something there does have control over the other things, at least in some aspect.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to say is, as far as upstairs, there's something angry, not happy. There are other things that are happening there. Didn't get a lot on any kind of K2 hits. K2s didn't really seem to do well inside this house.
There was one room upstairs I don't think we even walked into because you'd open the door and go, no, thank you.
Yeah, I do remember that. We walked in and I was, for some reason, that little thing in my head said, no, we're not going in here.
Yeah.
So, there was also another room that was in the back. We did some investigating there. I don't think we ever really found anything inside there, did we?
No.
But we did spend the night in the house.
Yep.
And we did survive.
We did.
There was some weird stuff, sounds, things happening overnight too. But we survived. We survived Monroe.
I do feel that some of the spirits or entities, whatever you would prefer to call them there, I think there's some that if you were a repeat visitor, you could build some sort of communication relationship with.
All right. Well, to wrap up this one, Jackie, what's your final thoughts on Monroe?
Well, but first I'd like to say, and we still have no idea what Josh was communing with when he was up against the wall because he doesn't remember it.
I don't remember a thing. Not whatsoever. I honestly can't. Actually, you guys talking about it, now I'm still kind of thinking in my head and I have no idea.
Because I know at one point I thought, I don't know if I said anything to Laura. It's like, I don't know, should we go over there and poke him or something?
I mean, for me, it was kind of like I can see him, doesn't seem distressed. He's not making any weird faces yet.
Well, and I think both of us were tired of, and we're not rescuing him from the damn Indians
Like,
anymore.
at least we know where he is. Just leave him there. But before we close out, I do want to, Jackie briefly stated it. At one time, we were in the house and we were going through theories. This is what we do.
Yes.
Some of them we would never share because we're like, oh, that's not right. We get a little far gone. But they were intrigued by that. The
Agents of Chaos, yes.
Yes. And that intrigues me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I guess maybe we are stranger than we thought, that we sit there in a house with agents of chaos, which are human and inhuman things. We just come from the basement where there was all that crap going on, and we're sitting there having a discussion, basically. And again, the agents of chaos are trying to get in our minds, so we go running out, and nothing's working. And I think they just haven't encountered something like us.
It was kind of like they wanted to know.
Yeah.
Like we want to know.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Would you go back?
Yeah, I would. And also, the Monroe House is called the Demon House, and I, having done this a lot and only, I think, run into maybe 5 demons in all our travels. I don't like bandying that word around. And while it's not the true nature of Monroe House, calling it the Demon House, at least when you go in there, you're going to be on your toes. You're not going to go in with your guard down and stuff. So, and when I go back, hello, we're badasses, but stupid. Yes.
Laura.
Most definitely. I really believe that some of them that held back and some that we saw like cower in a corner, I really believe with repeat visits that those would be the ones that would be able to explain what's going on.
And we always forget things. And one of the things we forgot, which I would like to do, is douse for graves around the property.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever been anywhere that we're not like, what were we thinking?
Yeah, why didn't we do this or something? Yeah.
Oh, we've been to plenty of those places. There was one I remember us walking out of, and we said, we didn't do anything that we had set out to do here.
We have an
know.
excuse though. Some of these places, we've rode all day, stayed up, and then, also dreading like we're going to hit the ground running when we get home too. So I guess you can only do so much when you're tired.
Well, in some of these places, we go in with a plan. We always have a plan. We always think, let's use this type of equipment and see this. But the minute you walk in there, the plan changes because what you're dealing with changes. So we don't try to fit it into our mold. We try to fit into their mold.
Yeah.
Like you can't predict what the mood of the house is going to be in. You can make a plan beforehand in case it's good to have a plan in case you just can't figure out what to do on the fly. Because that does happen in places.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next question. Would you recommend this place to an inexperienced ghost hunter?
Yes, as long as, again, you understand we're talking about not Casper the friendly ghost, not even Casper's brothers, the mean ghost. We're talking about, and this is something I tell every ghost hunter before you get into it. When you decide to do ghost hunting, it's not the ghost you're going to meet, but it's the things that are going to make you question your sanity. And as long as you're willing to take that risk, go to the Monroe House.
I would suggest that if you are mentally or emotionally strained, it's not a good time for you to go there. That is where those entities attack. So I think if you have protection and you're fully aware of what you're going in with and you've got the right mindset, and you stay strong and you're not afraid to step outside and let your pride take a little hit when you need to, then you're fine.
Okay.
Or, I agree with what Laura said, or sometimes I think in our case, we get away with this stuff because the ghosts look at us and go, they are crazier than anything we've ever encountered. Don't touch them.
All right. Well, then the next big thing, what would you recommend any paranormal hunter going into Monroe House? What type of equipment should they have?
First, you have protection and then have backup protection, because this might be someplace you're meeting so many different entities that what's working on this entity is not going to work on that. So have protection and then have some more protection you can grab. And we had, I think the Donner was our best piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I would add just hematite because I was able to utilize that specific stone to open up there. So I was glad that Jackie had brought that along.
Just so people know, hematite's very grounding. And as long as you stay grounded on this earth, it's going to keep you more in focus.
Yeah, if you have any psychic abilities and you're going to Monroe House, you need something that can ground you. Because it's not just the agents of chaos. That whole place is chaos. And if you're trying to figure it out, you almost will get lost in it. You have to have people that you know when you need to get out, because you're not going to know.
All right. Any last words before we close out this podcast?
Nope. Monroe House, like I say, is if you're into ghost hunting and you're willing to take the risk and take the consequences, go to Monroe House.
All right. Well, on that note, this has been Not Just Ghost Stories. We have been your hosts, Josh,
Laura,
and Jackie.
And until next time, you can find information and contact us on our website at notjustghoststories.com and see any evidence that we discussed on today's podcast on Facebook at Not Just Ghost Stories.